And I hate when people pull U-turns in front of me. Like, how stupid can you be?
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
What up, YouTubers? It is a brisk, very brisk, as I'm like visibly shaking, day here in Minnesota. It's Thursday, but it's about 50 degrees, as you can tell. Kind of overcast, though. Overall, generally speaking, kind of a shit day. But that kind of brings me to what I'd like to talk about, and that's a few distinct problems, or dangers rather, when it comes to getting back out there and riding your bike in Minnesota. And what, you might ask, is so different about Minnesota than the rest of the world, or the rest of the country. There are other parts of the world like Minnesota or similar climates, and that's just purely from the fact that Minnesota has winter. And because Minnesota has winter, it also has a very distinct motorcycle season, and we'll call it non-motorcycle season, or snowmobile season. And so one of the things they do, since we get so much snow here in Minnesota, is they lay down a whole ton of salt and a whole ton of sand. Now the salt melts away over time with the snow, no big deal. But what doesn't, that lovely sand. And so for the first couple of weeks out riding, they haven't street sweeped yet. And so when you are taking corners a little fast, ooh, I thought that guy was pulling out for sure. When you take corners a little bit fast, you want to be extra careful at the beginning of the season, because you just never know when there's just the right patch of sand that's going to put you down. And what a great way to ruin your first ride out, or your first couple of rides out. So that's distinct issue number 1. Number 2, distinct Minnesota problem, and again related to the fact that we have distinct seasons here, is that the cars are just not used to seeing us. They haven't seen us for 6 months. Why would we be there now? What is this, magic? Is this motorcycle magic? They came out of nowhere. It's like they didn't exist, and now we gotta start paying attention to the road again. So they're not ready for us to be out, especially early in the season. If you're an early season rider like myself, is a very distinct problem. Oh, dang it, now I'm gonna have to edit again. So that is 2 very distinct problems. The other thing, and it's vastly overlooked in Minnesota, is your bike has been sitting in storage in your garage, hopefully not next to the side of your house, for the last 6 months. Run a wrench through it, people. Bring it to most Minnesota dealers, and they will do a road ready test for you. Do not get out there and expect your bike to run as beautifully as it did when you put it away. It's got old gas, could have old lines. My personal favorite, a mouse could have found a nice little home in your muffler. There is so much that can go wrong. Don't strand yourself at the beginning of this season. And then finally, and this really just applies to everyone, not distinct to Minnesota, but it is distinct to the fact that if you don't ride all of the time, whew, it is cold. My mask is about to fly off. Let's see if I can at least get to my street without it flying off. Stay on there with the mask. Let's see if I can keep talking while my mask is half attached. In fear of it flying off into the road. At the very least, getting scratched to shit. I won't even go back for it, probably. It's not distinct to Minnesota that if you have riding seasons, that you're just out of practice. You are not as good of a rider right out of the garage as you are when you put the bike away. And so you really got to take it slow. And that applies, like I said, to absolutely everyone. And it really can break down to something as simple. My mask is still on. Sorry, I got distracted. Something as simple as the same day you're riding. You might notice. So say you took a week off, you haven't ridden in a while. You get out at the beginning of your ride. You're not going to be dragging bows. You know, or pushing your limit around every turn. Now just magnify that or over the span of 6 months and imagine how much of a noob you feel right away at the beginning. So if you go back, I don't mention it every time I did it because I was frankly a little bit embarrassed, but if you go back and watch some of my older videos, I missed second gear like half the time I was rolling through intersections. Just goes to show you. Oh, there's my buddy.